Why? Go, go, go. Go, Shar. What is it?
Welcome back to Jackfruit Delight. I'm Shar.
And I am Sunny D.
And we're super excited to have you here for our next episode, which is focused on the laws of attraction. And we'll get into it in a bit, but we're going to do our party question. So the party question of the day is...
Why? Go, go, go. Go, Shar. What is it?
I don't get this party question out sometimes. Would you rather be a bored librarian or a busy barista?
I've actually done both.
Okay.
Okay. Do I go?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
A busy barista.
Okay. Why?
Because it's really fun. I guess it depends on who your coworkers are. But as a barista, I really had fun with my coworkers. I like learning all these drink names. And it's also fun to interact with people who come to the cafe daily. You're like, hey, you're going to get a iced tall, non-fat mocha with whip on the side. It's fun having those communications, meeting like different people, seeing different people. So I would rather be a busy barista, because when I used to work at a library, all I did was just wait. It was just waiting.
Yeah. I hear you. I think as I'm reading this, again, I love these party questions. They're so funny, and we get to know each other in different ways. As I was reading it, it was like more of, am I more of an extrovert or an introvert, right? And I'm more of adaptable, but I lean towards extroversion. And I would probably be more of the busy barista as well. I enjoy conversations. I love experimenting. So being able to create all these wonderful drinks for my customers would be awesome. I also feel like it would be much cooler, and there would be more sunlight too. Being in a cafe, and there'd be nice music versus being in a very silent and potentially might not have the best lighting. And again, I love both of these careers, but I think if I were to choose based on my personality type, it would be more of the busy barista.
Yeah, when I used to work at the library, if I'm opening up a little candy, I'm like, and when I put it in my mouth, I'm like.
So that was our party question. Now let's jump into our topic. So laws of attraction. And the way that we define laws of attraction isn't the typical society definition of laws of attraction, which primarily focus on romantic relationships, what we're attracted by when it comes to men and women. Instead, we think of it more in regards to what attracts us to ourself, our self-love, what attracts us to our community and in having really great relationships with our friends and our family, and also what attracts us to choose love in a way of planning a future with someone. So I'm single and Sunny is married, and we're going to share our perspectives based on our lives living in California, her in South Korea, with our also different marital statuses as well. So Sunny, why don't you go ahead and start?
Current, and there's a disclaimer. I might change my mind in 5 years, 2 years, or next week, right? But right now, I think my definition, like my law of attraction, is being with someone who is able to see what I like about myself. Yeah. I think it is so just fulfilling and rewarding when there is a side of you that you love.
Yeah.
And if you meet someone that also loves that side of you, I think it's very fulfilling.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so is that for someone that you want to have a romantic relationship with, or is that with everyone who's a part
I
of your?
think, to be honest, I think it's with everyone. For example, let's say you're so into, like, let's say you're a very generous person, right? But like no one really understands how generous you are. But if you meet a friend, a lover, a partner, whoever, who's able to see that in you and kind of, I guess, almost like affirm you and encourage you and uplift that trait about yourself, you feel good, because I think everyone wants to be understood or loved in the way they want to be understood or want to be loved, right? So when you meet someone who's able to do that for you, it builds a really powerful chemistry. And I'm not saying it should just be done one-sided, but if it could be done both ways, like mutually,
Mm-hmm.
because then it encourages you and kind of inspires you to continue to become a better version of yourself
Mm.
without having to try to impress or do it for other people. So you're kind of, you realize, I really love this about myself, and someone else can see that too, you know?
Yeah. So how did you get into this journey where you yourself were attracted to yourself? I know that's kind of a weird
Your way,
question,
right?
right? But like,
Uh-huh.
how did you learn to be in love with yourself? Because self love is important, right? And like, how did you get to that place of loving yourself?
I think self-love is very abstract and very vague. You know, everyone says you should love yourself, but really, how do you love yourself? As in, like, what do you have to do, right? And my conclusion is you just have to experience a lot emotionally and mentally to know where your boundaries are and who you are. For example, I still am like this, but the younger version of me was much more intense when I engaged in relationships, whether it's with friends,
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, my lovers, or whatever. I was a type, I always felt like I had to be needed. Like, if that person doesn't need me, then what's the point of me even being there? I was never focusing on what I needed, but more like, if I really care about you as a friend, what can I do to make your life happy? Can I make you laugh? If you like that I'm funny, I'll always make you laugh, or I'll try. So I was very focused on and centered on what the other person would want. And it kind of got to a point where I was thinking one day, like, why do I like being alone?
Mm.
And I realized it's because I often felt drained or exhausted when I met with people, because I was too busy pouring out, and I was kind of left empty. And that's nothing bad on their behalf, because they have no idea what's going on. I'm just doing this all to myself.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment where I was like, okay, I need to focus on what, like, with myself, like focus on myself, or
Mm.
else I'm going to constantly feel drained because I'm so busy trying to figure out how other people want to be loved. I'm so into and curious about how they want to be understood, but I'm not focusing on how I want to be understood, how I want to be loved. So that
Yeah.
was kind of information.
Like, how did you kind of explore, am I settling in this relationship, or is this the best person for me as I'm also getting to know myself better?
I mean, that's a very, I think that question has a lot of layers to it, but the easiest way for me to measure that or to define that is, like, am I enjoying myself? Do I love myself? You know, um, as in, the best relationship I had was one where I felt like that person was not impressed by me. That person did not really need me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds a little bit weird, right? Because relationships are all about bonding and like being codependent on each other somehow to some degree, right? But what I mean by that is, because that person wasn't interested in how I could provide emotionally, mentally, or romantically, he wasn't interested in what I could give. So I didn't have to think about that. Instead, he was literally just interested in who I was, which was very liberating, because I didn't need to, yeah, I didn't need to become a good person. I didn't need to impress him. I didn't need
Yeah.
for myself to need him. Instead, he was just enjoying watching my journey,
Mm-hmm.
watching how I evolved as a person. And I think I felt I felt most in tune with myself. And that's how I knew. because in the past I was very focused on how the person needed me or validated me or affirmed me.
Yeah, this is so interesting. I really like the topic when we're talking about, need and want, right? And do you feel, based on your perspective,
Mhm.
you need someone in your life?
Mhm. I do. But I need someone in my life, not just as like a boyfriend or a husband. I need people in my life that I can share my journey with, like just even like you or any friends. Like, I think we as human beings were societal, right? So I do
Uh,
think I need someone in my life, but it doesn't have to be because I want to like have sex, because I want a title of having a boyfriend, or because I want to be a wife because society wants me to be a wife. Like, those are not the reasons why I want or I need someone. I need someone because I want to, communicate, like share my life, have someone to enjoy this with me.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome. And I like your perspective on it. Is it's more about wanting to experience something with someone versus feeling like something is missing in your life. Which I feel like in based in kind of in my community, it's more of a focus of is I'm missing something.
But you're not missing anything in your life unless you've had it. Like, that's what I'm trying to say is, because I have my best friends, if I don't have them, I'm missing out. I'm missing something in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been a wife, if I don't have my husband, because I know how, like, what it felt like to have my husband and to be in that relationship, I would feel like I'm missing out on something
Mm-hmm.
because I've experienced it. It's like when you fight with your best friend and you don't talk to them, you miss them because you've had them, right? So I think that type of missing out I get, but I do sometimes feel bad for people who feel pressured to jump into something simply because they're afraid, like FOMO, fear of missing out on something that is not even like there right now.
Yeah, it's not even an experience that is theirs.
Right. But I'm not trying to like say, oh, like, then why do it? It's more like, don't worry about what you're missing out on because it will come to you. It will come to you. So don't feel pressured or like obligated to jump into things just because you feel like everyone thinks you're missing out?
Yeah. So what advice do you have, for someone like me, in their early 30s who's single? I think I'm single, but I feel complete, right? Like I
Hmm.
have everything I need.
Right.
Is also still looking for
Hmm.
um, someone that they want to spend their life with. Like, what advice would you give from a married woman's perspective?
I guess find someone who helps you to preserve yourself, but also grow with you. Like, they're walking the walk with you, but they're not forcing your direction.
Mm,
Like, they want you to continue. For example, the reason I think I am happy with my current relationship, I mean, who knows? I might change my mind next week, right? Or a year after. But currently, being Sunny D right now, the reason I appreciate my relationship is I'm still me. And I really enjoy being me. I still have, my same crew of friends. I still have all my relationships. There's nothing that's changed except I've gained another best friend,
yeah,
you know?
it's not a replacement. It's having another one.
Yeah, it's not a replacement. It's not an alternative. It's more of an added value per se, like, as in, yeah. So like, my current relationship has expanded my scope of relationships
Yeah,
or my feelings.
yeah. It reminds me to a conversation we had, um, a few days ago when it came to uh, what's important to you, what creates attraction to you when it comes to romantic relationships, where
Mhm.
you are like, Shar, it doesn't really matter who this person is friends with because you have different friends from different personalities. What
Uh-huh.
matters the most for you is how they treat their friends because that's a reflection to who they are as a person.
I am so big on them, not just their friends, but their relationships, you know? Because like you said, if my if someone was to judge me or to get an idea of me based on my friends, they would think I'm a psych job because I have so many different types of friends. But these different types of friends have all taught me something. They've all helped me to grow and they've exposed me to a lot of different things, right? But what's important is that I value my relationship and I keep it, right? And likewise, for me, I've realized it's really important. Oh yeah, that was the advice, right? That was the advice that we're talking about. Um, when you want, I think one thing you should always keep in mind, and this is just if you want to, when you meet someone, you might want to pay attention to how that person treats the person's existing relationships, whether it's with their pets, their friends, their, parents. Because the way they commit and devote and invest their time into their existing relationships will probably kind of give you an idea of how they will treat your relationship, you know?
I think now, as an adult, it's super important for the person I'm with not to have the healthiest relationship with their parents, but at
Right.
least invest time with their parents.
Like make an effort.
Make an effort, like have conversations with them, try to fix the relationship. Because if you're not making an effort in the hard times when it comes to your parents, and maybe they just had really hard parents and you know it just doesn't make sense for them, but at least like they have tried, right? If they don't try, then it kind of shows how they're not going to try when it comes to relationships and how they're
Right.
going to model that to any sort of future that we're going to create.
Right. Because like you said, we can't pick and choose our family members.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't feel like you have to be from a happy family. You could be from a broken family, a dysfunctional family, that's fine. But as you mature into your own being, how do you respond to that? You
Mm-hmm.
know? Because parents you can't choose. So I totally agree with you. And it's funny because I have like one of my best friends, she married someone who's really, really, really good at nurturing plants and taking care of his stuff. And for her, it also reflected in how he would be committed and how he would like take care of their relationship.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
like friends, family, they're conditional in the sense they come and go.
yeah.
But the person, the way they treat those relationships or the way they approach it,
Mm-hmm.
it comes from them, the individual, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's very important.
Part two will be my story as a single woman living in California. So stay tuned for that. And before we end this session today, which is part one, we have a jackfruit quote. Sunny, could you share our jackfruit quote?
People are like jackfruits. Some are hard and rude on the outside, soft and sweet on the inside. Difficult to open the outer layer to find the sweet quality of core.
Awesome. Thanks, Sunny. And stay tuned for part two. Thank you all for joining.
By the way, part two will be much more interesting and juicier.
This was spiky.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Please follow and like our channel.
And subscribe. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.